a good start to the Asian Cup for Team Melli. On today's episode, we will recap and analyze Iran's match against Palestine and preview Iran's upcoming match against Hong Kong. You know the deal, and you know what time it is. It's time for Team Melli Talk. The start of another Asian Cup mission for the national team of Iran. Hey everyone, welcome back to Team Melli Talk. We know what you want, so let's get right to Iran's starting lineup against Palestine. Getting the start in goal, Ali Reza Bayranvand. Now for the back line, Ehsan Hajsafi, Shoja Khaliazadeh, Hossein Kanani, Sadegh Moharrami. Now for the midfielders, Mehdi Ghaedi, Saeed Ezatolahi, Saman Godus, Ali Reza Jahanbakhsh. And of course up top, Mehdi Taremi, Karim Ansari Fard. A starting lineup from Amir Ghalanoui that had most of the usual suspects, but also some surprises. A very good day for Iran against Palestine. And when looking back at this match, you really have no choice but to look back at Iran's perfect start. I mean, scoring a goal in the second minute of the match. It was the early goal from Karim Ansari Fard that set the tone for this match and completely destroyed the game plan for Palestine. I'll be honest, I was a little surprised when I saw that Karim Ansari Fard was in the starting lineup, but he knows how to be in the right place at the right time, and we saw it. Next, a free kick in the 12th minute, finished off beautifully by Shoja Khaliazadeh. This was Shoja's second goal for Team Melli and his first since 2021. The perfect first half continued when Mehdi Ghaedi made this look easy by putting his shot into the far corner, Iran with a 3-0 lead. I've been a big fan of Mehdi Ghaedi for a long time, and I was thrilled to see him in the starting lineup. Unfortunately for Shoja Khaliazadeh, he rolled his ankle and had to be replaced by Majid Hosseini in the 44th minute. Surprisingly, a mistake deep into stoppage time resulted in a goal for Palestine from Tamer Sayam, but Iran was obviously in control with a 3-1 lead going into the half. The only goal of the second half came 10 minutes after the restart when Sardar Azmoun pounced on a loose ball in front of the Palestinian net. A 4-1 victory for Iran. But to be honest, there were occasions when Iran was a little sloppy on defense. Fortunately though, Iran did not concede more goals. But when looking at the numbers, Iran dominated from start to finish with more shots and much more possession than Palestine. Next, my man of the match, an easy decision for everyone. Obviously the man of the match was Saman Godus. He had 2 assists and he continues to show why he is so valuable to Team Melli. He is the leader Iran always needs in midfield. And you know, he is the guy who just holds everything together for Iran. He has amazing vision and excellent ball distribution skills. Take a look at the grades for the starters. The player who scored the lowest was Hossein Kanani, and ironically, he was also the only player who received a yellow card. As for head coach Amir Ghalanoui, he definitely looked very relaxed for the entire 90 minutes. Next, let's take a look at the table in Group C. Iran and UAE are tied on points, but Iran is currently top of the group by way of more goals scored. And joining me for this segment of the show, my good friend Roy Kaviani, joining us all the way from Doha, Qatar. Roy, as always, great to have you back on the show. You know, how did you enjoy? How you enjoying the Asian Cup so far? I mean, you're right there where it's all happening.
First of all, thanks for having me again, and thanks. Well, I feel like a family now. Yeah, I mean, it feels like the World Cup just finished yesterday, and now we see Team Melli back here again. So it was great seeing them again yesterday.
You know, the first thing I want to talk about is the starting lineup. And, you know, when I saw the starting lineup, I was a little surprised. One surprise in particular was because Mehdi Ghaedi started as the left midfielder, and usually it's been Mohamed Mohebi. You know, Mohamed Mohebi has been one of Amir Ghalanoui's, you know, one of his guys that he really likes to have in the starting lineup. So I was a little surprised that he was not in the starting lineup, but I was pleasantly surprised to see Mehdi Ghaedi in the starting lineup, and he paid off. You know, he scored a goal. So what was your reaction to the starting lineup?
it was almost very similar to you as well. I was a bit surprised, but then within 5 minutes, I thought, oh, this kid is good, and he looked really good on the left side, and he scored that goal as well. So yeah, it was a good. It's an easy-ish game anyway, so it's good to see that he's experimenting a bit before the harder games start coming up.
You know, one thing in particular about Team Melli fans, or let's just talk about, you know, football fans in general. When their team has whenever football fans see their favorite team win very comfortably, it's very difficult to, you know, nitpick and find some of the things to complain about. I mean, a 4-1 win for Iran, obviously a very good result. Conceding a goal in stoppage time, well, you never want to concede a goal in stoppage time, that's for sure. But when thinking about some of the small negatives, one of them involves Mohamed Mohebi. He came in the second half. He was all right, but one thing I fault him for is that he holds on to the ball a little too long, and that kind of irritates me. And then you might be surprised to hear this, Ali Reza Jahanbash. You know, he's obviously been playing very well for a long time, but you know, there's some games where he gives the ball away, he loses the ball, or he's not very accurate with his passes. So, you know, in your opinion, would it be a bad thing to have Jahanbash come off the bench?
Yeah, I mean, the next game is easier, so I think I would dress Jahanbash. He didn't have a good game at all. I know he had an assist for the third goal, but I don't think he had a good game at all. So sometimes it's not a punishment. He needs a rest or something, and give somebody else a chance. Rotate the team a little bit, especially against easy teams. Get these guys ready for the quarterfinal, let's say.
Next thing, you know, I think some people might call me a little crazy for suggesting this, but there's been a decent amount of Iranian fans who've kind of, you know, thought about this. I had this idea before too. I mean, what do you think about the idea of, you know, Sadek Moharami starting as the right back, just like you know, he did a pretty decent job. He did. I like what I saw from him against Palestine. But you know, like I said, have Moharami as the right back. But what about Ramin Rezaian as a right winger? I mean, he spent a lot of time in Qatar. He's spent a decent amount of time in Qatar, and I know you are a big fan of him. So do you think I mean, I'm pretty sure that's something you would like to see, but do you think Amir Ghalanoui would try and experiment with that idea?
Very possible, especially you can have a good right back, and then you can have someone who can play. I mean, Ramin is a utility player. So in Qatar, he's played right back, he's played right wing, he's played right midfield, he's even played as a number 10. He finished the season with 13 goals. I know people are going to say, oh, the league is not strong enough. It is strong. And if you compare it to the Iranian league as well, they're not far off each other now. So biggest proof is Persepolis got knocked out by Duhail, who's 7th place or 6th place at the moment here. So yeah, you can try it. Newcastle United tried it. So they've got Trippier, who's right back, and they've got Livramento, who's right back. And against Dortmund, he played Livramento right wing. So he had both defending and attacking at the same time. It was really good. So why not try it? Try it against Hong Kong. Nothing to lose.
Yeah, you know, I like that thinking. I really do. And, you know, when looking at Iran's group, yes, I mean, this isn't a group full of world beaters in Asian football. So yes, it is. It's not a bad idea to do some experimenting. The next thing I want to talk about, you know, as we're getting closer to wrapping this segment up, I appreciate you taking the time. Like I said, a 4-1 win for Iran over Palestine. Now, there are also a lot of Team Melli fans, and especially those who really like Amir Ghalanoui, and some of them like to really, you know, have their way with me by, you know, trolling my, you know, YouTube, you know, videos, the comment section. But, you know, what is your mindset now after this 4-1 victory over Palestine? I mean, what do you think Iran got from this match? And in general, though, what did you take from this match, from the 4-1 victory?
I mean, if anyone took that team seriously against us, needs to give his head a wobble. That game was a bit like a preparation game still. The next one against Hong Kong is the same. So UAE is probably the first kind of test, and then the tournament starts in the second round or in the quarterfinal even, because Iran's going to play one of the third place teams in the other groups. So I've looked at them, and like probably the hardest team Iran might face in the second round is Syria. That's probably the hardest team. So the tournament doesn't start till the quarterfinal. So no one should jump and celebrate and say, look, and I mean, Jordan beat Malaysia today by 4-0. Japan won 4-2. Everyone else, almost like there's about 4 or 5 teams that scored 4 goals in this tournament. What's happened with this tournament is it's gone from 16 to 24 teams, and what's happened, you've got 6 or 7 teams now below par, rubbish teams that joined. We're already a weak continent, and we've already only got about 6 or 7 quality teams. And now you've had a tournament that used to be 16 turned into 24, and you're playing all these games now in the first round, and you're getting 4 goals every game. So no, it's not a test. The test is probably UAE to finish top of the group, and then the second round. So no one should go and jump around and say, oh, 4-0 and 4-1, and so don't judge the team from this. Judge the team in the second round. Think about the whole picture. Rest players, try new things, get ready for the big one, which is in 10 days.
Once again, Roy, I really appreciate you taking the time. Just real quick before I let you go, just give me your score prediction for Iran versus Hong Kong.
I'm gonna go 6-0.
All right, I like that score prediction. And this match will be taking at the Khalifa International Stadium. Ironically, that's the same venue where, Iran experienced that 6-2 loss to England. But you know what? I think this time, I gotta agree with you. I think 6-0 or 5-0 is a very good prediction. But Roy, as always, thank you for taking the time. Always a pleasure to have you on the show, man.
Thanks for having me again, mate, and hopefully see you soon. And hopefully 6-0 is the score on Friday.
Hong Kong, a team that Iran is very, very familiar with because Iran and Hong Kong were in the same group during 2022 World Cup qualifying. Also, Iran is currently in the same group with Hong Kong for 2026 World Cup qualifying. Let's take a look at the all-time history. Iran has a perfect record against Hong Kong. 7 wins out of 7 matches. Hong Kong has appeared in 3 other Asian Cups, but its previous appearance was back in 1968. The last meeting between these teams took place less than 2 months ago in World Cup qualifying. Iran scored an easy 4-0 victory at the Azadi Stadium. Sardar Azmoun had a brace. The other goals were scored by Mehdi Tarmi and Ramin Rezaian. Hong Kong is coming off a 3-1 loss to the United Arab Emirates, and its only goal was scored by Chan Sui Kwan. The head coach of Hong Kong has not changed, Jorn Andersen from Norway. As for the players to watch, I chose the 3 boys from Brazil, Everton Camargo, Juninho, and Stefan Pereira. All 3 of these players were naturalized, but the only one to appear in the starting lineup was Everton Camargo. Juninho actually did not make an appearance, while Stefan Pereira made an appearance as a second-half substitute. As for the keys to victory, number 1, press the back line early. Number 2, watch the long ball tactics. Hong Kong is a team that just does not match up well with Iran. Now, I am not implying that Iran should underestimate Hong Kong, but I think it would be a good idea for Amir Ghalanoui to tweak his starting lineup a bit. And let's not forget, Iran will face Hong Kong on January 19th at the Khalifa International Stadium in Al Rayyan. Yes, a 4-1 victory over Palestine was definitely a perfect start to this Asian Cup for Iran. But it's also time for a reality check. Now, to be honest, I view Iran's win over Palestine in the same way that I viewed Iran's victories over Burkina Faso and Indonesia, because these are all teams that were not very challenging for Iran. Like I have said before, the group stage of this Asian Cup is for Iran to prepare for the best teams in Asia. Let's hope Iran keeps this momentum going, and I am really looking forward to the match against Hong Kong.